What is going on, Neon Nation, and welcome back to the Neon Arcade for some of the craziest things that you can do in Cyberpunk 2077 and Night City that you might have missed. These include features, Easter eggs, glitches, and other unique details about Cyberpunk that you might not be aware of, and how to find them if possible. Let me know which of these features are your favorite in the comments below. Before we get into it, spoiler alert for those who have yet to complete the game, you probably want to do so before watching. In no particular order, we first have one of my favorite hidden moments in Cyberpunk 2077, which has to do with the relic chip malfunctions. Whenever your HUD glitches and sends you into a malfunction, try to find the closest mirror that you can. If you time looking into the mirror correctly, your reflection will be that of Johnny Silverhands and not your custom V character. V will have a unique voice line here, and you can look at the fringes of the mirror and the environment, and Silverhand's eyes will follow. Next up, we have the ability to actually kill Arasaka baddie Atom Smasher well before the final showdown in Arasaka Towers. In fact, you can do so in your first meeting with Smasher during the heist mission with your compadre Jacky Wells. To do this, you have to opt to not hide when Yorinobu and Smasher get off the elevator to their pad. Quick hacking is the way to go to down Smasher, who is weak to short circuit. You're probably going to have to clear a good chunk of side missions before you actually do this, so that you can get the appropriate quick hacks to take him down. Now, this does also soft lock the game, which means you won't be able to progress, but it's still awesome to completely blindside the hulking Fullborg so early into the game. A big element of Cyberpunk 2077 and a prominent questline is called Fool on the Hill, where you have to collect tarot cards for Misty. Now, you actually don't need to collect all the tarot cards in the game to complete the quest, and there are 2 additional secret tarot cards in the game for you to complete your deck. The first one is during the final boss battle with Atom Smasher before you reach Mikoshi, which can be completed in any of the endings, minus the one siding with Arasaka. This is the Judgement tarot card and can be found on an upright pillar jutting from the ground on the floor of the arena where you have to take down Smasher. The next one, called the Devil, can be found in the ending where you align with Arasaka and trust Hanako to help you and give you access to Arasaka's neuroscientists to help find a solution to the relic. This tarot card can be found inside a Rubik's Cube that you're asked to solve by Arasaka's staff in a cognitive function test after a surgery where the relic is extracted. Both of these will pop up in your tarot inventory after you've found them. Next, we have an Easter egg quest that you will likely get very late game. This involves a man named Zane in a high-end corporate outfit store named Jingu-ji. This will be marked on your map as an undiscovered location quest, and it begins after you peruse some of the clothing options that are offered there. The Cyber Psycho ends up attacking the location wielding a very long machete, and you're tasked with holding him off until a max tech unit arrives to neutralize the threat. The unit eventually comes and they take out the Cyber Psycho and sit you and Zane down to ask you some questions about the attack.
Let's go, you two-head!
The Max Tech Lieutenant is a female, and yes, this is the same Cyber Psycho from the 2013 teaser trailer. In that trailer, we see a Max Tech officer with the crusher to the head of this Cyber Psycho, who we see later on has been recruited into the ranks. For those who are skeptical that this is the same woman, check out the bullet mark on her subdermal armor, which matches the one from the Rampage. This is pretty common for Max Tech according to the lore, and many of their members are teetering on the verge of cyberpsychosis themselves. Anyways, this is Melissa Rory, and it's further clarified by Zane later on in a text message where her backstory is confirmed. I love this little quest and throwback, and I hope we get more into her story and additional content down the line. Next up, we have a couple of references from my personal favorite TV show probably of all time, Breaking Bad. The first one here can be found on the roof of River Ward's house in the trailer park on the outskirts of the city. If you climb up onto the roof, you can see a pizza on top, a very cool homage to this iconic scene of Walter White tossing this pizza pie onto his roof in a rage after getting curbed by his ex-wife Skylar White. The next one is actually the name of a gig called the Heisenberg Principle, where you have to destroy a lab which produces a deadly synthetic drug known as glitter. Obviously, this runs in parallel with the overall premise of Breaking Bad, and the fact that Walter White, known on the street as Heisenberg, inevitably ends up manufacturing crystal meth. There's even a time period in the show where Walter works in a super lab for Gustavo Fring, which ends up getting destroyed. Absolutely fantastic show. If you have not seen it, finish this video and then go check it out. Next up, we have a secret otherworldly katana shown off in a Tiger Claws warehouse in between the hills of North Oak and Japantown. Once you've cleared out the whole complex and you walk down into the basement, you'll see a protected case housing an experimental meme katana that looks like it's straight out of Devil May Cry. On a computer upstairs, there's a list of the most popular hobby swords that the Claws are presumably selling, including some hilarious ones up there at the top, and what appears to be the description of the one in the basement. The Heaven Storm's description is as follows. Improving an already perfect weapon such as a katana is no easy task, but we have succeeded in doing so. The blade of this katana has been enchanted with the souls of lesser demons known as cellar imps. But beware, if you do not cast the right protective barrier when wielding this blade, you may fall victim to the basement dweller curse. Its damage type is unhealable, shameful memories, and its equip restriction states that warriors with emotional maturity cannot wield it. It seems like the claws have a sense of humor after all, and I looked at ways of getting this out, but it's just not meant to be equipped, especially judging by its stats, if this is in fact the Heaven Storm. Speaking of meme weapons, we can also get disposable weapons from a budget arms vending machine on some of the city streets. They cost 90 eddies and have a limited ammo capacity, and disappear from your inventory after you've unloaded all of the bullets. They come in a bunch of fun colors, kinda like Skittles, and I'm just waiting for someone to do a guns blazing solo-centric, disposable weapon only run on very hard. Next up, we have the ability to actually get a pet cat named Nibbles for your apartment. To get this cat, you first have to find the Feed to Cat shard, which is located in a garbage bin on the left hand side as you exit your apartment in Watson. In close proximity to the garbage can, there will be a bowl or dish where you can set some food down. You can obtain cat food from some of the vendors in Night City, so once you've done that, just place the food down and come back later or fast forward time. A cat named Nibbles will be there, and you can take him home where he will sit in either a laundry basket or on your desk, and is a cool little addition to your apartment that Johnny takes quite a liking to.
There it is.
Next, we have the ability to repair and ride the roller coaster in Pacifica with your mentally bound buddy Johnny Silverhand. I'm pretty sure this is the first and last time you see Silverhand aka Keanu Reeves smile in the game, so if you need a break from the bleak world of Night City for some wholesome quality Keanu time, you're gonna want to do this. You first have to fix a control panel right under the dock where the roller coaster is, so make sure that you do this before attempting to get in. Now, legendary specs are hard to come by in Cyberpunk 2077, but there's probably one you didn't quite notice for an iconic tech weapon prominently featured in Cyberpunk 2077's marketing campaign and in the infamous 48-minute demo. The Achilles is a legendary tech rifle, and to get it you'll need to take the elevator to the afterlife roof and jump up to this vantage point. Back to some Easter eggs, and we first have a couple related to Blade Runner and one of the grandfathers of Cyberpunk aesthetics, Sid Mead. If you head over to the Columbarium in North Oak, you'll find a couple of prominent figures in the world of the Cyberpunk genre, as well as the game itself. There's a memorial for Jacky Wells and Evelyn Parker, but also one for the replicant Roy Batty from Blade Runner, with the quote, "All moments will be lost in time like tears in the rain." This is the most famous monologue from the first Blade Runner, and CDPR have followed this up with actually having a larger Easter egg in the form of his character model perched on top of the Advocate Motel in Vista del Rey, with the neon sign like tears off to the side. Batty's Hotel is also a location in Pacifica that pays homage to the late Rutger Hauer, who played Roy Batty. We also have visual futurist Sid Mead, who created designs for Star Trek, Tron, and was the concept artist for Blade Runner as well. He's known as the grandfather for these types of concept pieces. Another fantastic genre film and one of my personal favorite sci-fi movies of all time is The Matrix, which also stars Johnny Silverhand voice actor Keanu Reeves as Neo. There are a ton of Matrix Easter eggs in Cyberpunk 2077, with the most obvious being the red and blue pills, which subdue or expand Keanu's digital presence within V.
Think I got something better.
There are also a couple other interesting ones, including a clothing ad mirroring a scene from The Matrix where an armory appears, as well as one of the best scenes of the film where Neo experiences deja vu in the form of seeing a black cat multiple times in a stairway. You can also see a cat multiple times in the scene where you enter Mikoshi and the scene before the epilogue. Now, we all know that Mike Pondsmith is the visionary behind the Cyberpunk IP, which was licensed by CD Projekt Red to create Cyberpunk 2077. And naturally, they have immortalized Pondsmith in-game, with him being the radio host of the Morro Rock station. Many times in the intermissions between songs, he can be heard talking about lore topics like cyberpsychosis and the corporate wars.
They tell us that Arasaka self-destructed the
prevent it from falling into the hands of the enemy, and ensuring that the resulting destruction would keep the Americans busy picking through the debris. Yeah, right. This story is full of holes. They weren't losing the battle for the city, and they had no reason to blow themselves up. On the contrary, at that point in the war, the high brass of the U.S. government were getting pretty damn tired with this war. And they were getting ready to end it by any means necessary, and that put Militech in a pretty tight spot.
Pondsmith also has a street named after him, which can be found as you enter Japantown. We all know by now Jacky is a fan favorite character, and his untimely death was pretty tragic considering we didn't get to know him that well. Part of the story is a funeral in his honor, but you can also attempt to call him, where you leave a sombering voicemail for someone who will never hear it.
This number is temporarily unavailable. Please leave a message.
So, went to your funeral. God, sounds weird to say, right? Mama Wells. Oh, her heart's broken, but she's hanging in. She's tough. A lot of people showed, actually. Campo Orta sent someone too. Guy did read from a card. But, you know, there was a lot of respect. And warmth. Wish you could have seen it, Jack. Sure you would have liked it.
Definitely a little gut punch there. Prolific developer Hideo Kojima has a cameo rocking some swanky gear in the bar of Konpeki Plaza, and judging by the dialogue, he seems to be a Steven Spielberg-esque tier braindance director or editor.
僕はリアルを感じてもらいたいんだ。もちろん現実には体験できない物語を通してね。
Hey.
新しい企画のオファー?
You can also see the BB from Death Stranding, his most recent title, in a mission with Detective River Ward. Now I'm sure most of you who are watching this have actually finished Cyberpunk 2077 and are now waiting for DLC. But there are 3 life path specific quests, which you might not have had the chance to play if you only ran through the game once. For the street kid, we have Little Man Big Mouth, the Nomad has these boots were made for walking with Alana Pierce, and the Corporal has War Pigs, which gives more context to the Abernathy saga. Prominent characters from the lore like Smasher, Silverhand, Rogue, and Alt make an appearance in Cyberpunk 2077, but Shaitan and Spider Murphy are also shown, and in the case of Shaitan, we barely get to see him. There have been some aesthetic changes to Cyberpunk 2020 characters to fit more in line with CDPR's vision, but there are a couple frames where we do get to see Shaitan. Shaitan is a full Borg in the lore, who in the source books looks a little bit more like this. In the center of Kabuki, we also have a secret netrunning room with a massive samurai logo on the wall that Silverhand is keen to open. This door does require a code, which is 60518. Inside will be a video slideshow of all the developers at CD Projekt Red who worked on Cyberpunk 2077 throughout the years. There is also a hidden message section at the top, but the inbox says 0, so maybe that will be added in content down the road. A super hidden character in the side stories of Cyberpunk 2077 is Mr. Blue Eyes. Now I've done an extensive video on him and the conspiracy theories surrounding this character, but what I will mention in this video is that you will meet him at the end of the game for a contract if you follow the path of glory or secret ending. This is a character that shows up in your final meeting with Jefferson Perales, but most players probably didn't notice him as he's in the background, surveying your conversations. If you want to check out that video to learn a bit more about this elusive man style character, there will be a link in the pinned comment. There is a ton of Witcher imagery and Easter eggs as well, including a Game of the Year magazine featuring Ciri on the cover in the beginning of the corporate life path. There's also an arcade game called Roach, as well as drones being named after fantasy creatures from the Witcher universe. This includes the Wyvern and Griffin drones. Finally, there aren't any flying cars in the game, but you can always hitch a ride with story or general AVs by climbing on top of them. Now they will get to a point in the air where they'll either despawn or stop, so just keep that in mind, but it does give you an opportunity for unique vistas of the city. That's all for today guys. I have a special video out in the next couple days, so keep an eye out for that, and for more Cyberpunk and gaming content, join Neon Nation by subscribing to the Neon Arcade.